You know exactly what this feels like. You're asleep, deeply, finally, properly asleep, and then something lands on your chest, or a paw makes deliberate contact with your face, or a sound starts somewhere in the room that is specifically calibrated, it seems, to be impossible to sleep through. You look at the clock. It's 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. or some other hour that has no business being anyone's waking hour, and your cat is sitting there, completely alert, looking at you with an expression that contains no apology whatsoever. You feed them, or you get up, or you put them out of the room and lie there listening to them work on the door for 20 minutes. And eventually, you fall back asleep, and it happens again tomorrow, and the tomorrow after that, and somewhere in the accumulated exhaustion of weeks of this, you start to wonder if you made a mistake somewhere fundamental. You didn't make a fundamental mistake. You made a timing mistake, and it has a specific correction that works, that is not complicated, and that most people never try because it requires doing something that feels counterintuitive in the middle of the problem. Here's what it is. 1. Your cat is not waking you up because they're broken. They're waking you up because it works. Start here, because until you understand this, the correction doesn't make sense. The first time your cat woke you up at night, something happened afterward. You got up, you fed them, you gave them attention, you moved, which was interesting. You did something, almost anything, that was different from the nothing that was happening before they woke you. Your cat's nervous system logged that sequence. The behavior produced a result, and behaviors that produce results get repeated. This is not manipulation in any sophisticated sense. It is basic conditioning, the same process that shapes almost every habitual behavior in every animal, including humans. Something worked once, it worked again. It became the strategy. The reason it keeps working is the same reason it started working. You keep responding, not because you want to reinforce the behavior. Because you're exhausted, and a response is the path of least resistance. At 3 a.m., and your cat is persistent, and eventually doing something is easier than doing nothing. Every response teaches the same lesson. Waking you up works. Do it again tomorrow. The correction is not about punishing the behavior or training your cat in any formal sense. It is about removing the thing that makes the behavior worth doing. And the thing that makes it worth doing is your response. 2. The evening hunt is the missing piece most people never address. Here is the part of this that runs upstream of everything else, and that almost nobody talks about when they discuss nighttime waking in cats. Your cat has a hunting cycle. Stalk, chase, pounce, catch, kill, eat, groom, sleep. In the wild, this cycle completes at dawn and dusk and ends with food, followed by the deep, satisfied rest of an animal whose body has done what it was built to do. In your house, most of that cycle never happens. The food appears without the hunt. The body is primed for explosive activity that never gets a legitimate outlet. The cycle starts and doesn't complete. And an incomplete hunting cycle leaves a residue of physical and neurological readiness that doesn't just disappear because the lights went out. That readiness has to go somewhere. And somewhere, for many cats, turns out to be the hours between midnight and dawn, which is when the house is finally quiet enough that the hunting drive finds the space it was looking for all day. The 3 a.m. zoomies, the 4 a.m. face-touching, the inexplicable urgency that only exists in the hours you most need to be unconscious. These are almost never random. They are the completion of something that should have happened earlier in the evening and didn't. The single most effective intervention for nighttime waking is a hunting session in the 2 hours before you go to bed. Not a play session in the casual sense. A deliberate, structured engagement that mimics the hunting cycle as completely as possible. A toy that moves like prey. Darting away, hiding, freezing, darting again. Your cat stalking it, crouching low, pupils wide. The pounce, the catch, the carry. Let them catch it. The catch is essential. A hunt that never ends in a catch is a hunt that doesn't complete, and a hunt that doesn't complete doesn't produce the physiological resolution you're trying to create. After the catch, the food. A small meal immediately after the play session. Not their full daily food, just enough to trigger the eat portion of the cycle. Then the grooming happens naturally. Then the sleep. That sequence, hunt, catch, eat, groom, sleep, run in the 2 hours before your bedtime will do more for your nights than anything else in this video. Not immediately, in every case, but within a week of consistency, in most cats, the nighttime activity shifts. The body completed its cycle at the right time. There is nothing left over for 3 a.m. 3. What you do in the night when it still happens matters enormously. The evening routine addresses the root cause. This addresses what to do during the transition period, and during the occasional nights when the transition isn't complete yet. When your cat wakes you, the response that teaches the behavior to continue is any response that is interesting to your cat. Getting up, feeding them, talking to them, moving in a way that generates stimulation. Even negative attention, pushing them away, speaking sharply, relocating them firmly, is interesting. It is different from unconsciousness. It is a result, and results are what the behavior is producing. The response that teaches the behavior to extinguish is nothing. Specifically, a quality of nothing that is consistent, committed, and genuinely unrewarding for your cat. Don't move, don't speak, don't make any sound. Don't adjust your position in a way that acknowledges what's happening. Be, as completely as you can manage, an inanimate object. This is significantly harder than it sounds at 3 a.m. when a paw is on your face, but the mechanics are simple. Every response, however small, restarts the clock. Every genuine non-response is a data point that says this behavior is no longer producing results. Your cat will escalate before they stop. This is predictable and worth knowing in advance. When a behavior that used to work stops working, the immediate response is to try harder. More insistent pawing, louder sounds, more creative approaches to getting a reaction. This escalation is not evidence that the approach isn't working. It is evidence that it is working, that your cat is in the process of testing whether the change is real before updating their strategy. If you respond during the escalation, you teach them that escalation works. Hold through it. The escalation peaks, and then it stops. And if it stops consistently, night after night, the behavior that preceded it loses its foundation, and it stops too. And if this is the thing you've been looking for after weeks of interrupted sleep, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more cat owners who need real answers instead of just sympathy. 4. The bedroom door question and why it matters more than most people think. There is a version of this problem that has a simpler solution and a version that doesn't, and they are separated by one variable: whether the bedroom door is open or closed. A cat who wakes you up from inside the bedroom is a fundamentally different problem from a cat who wakes you up from outside it. The inside cat has access to you, and the correction involves your response behavior during the night and the evening routine. The outside cat cannot access you directly, and the waking is almost always vocalization or physical interference with the door. For the outside cat, the door itself becomes part of the equation. And the answer is counterintuitive for many people. Letting them in often solves the problem faster than keeping them out. A cat who is scratching and vocalizing at a closed bedroom door is a cat who is experiencing the closed door as a rupture in their social map. Their person is inaccessible. The anxiety of that inaccessibility is what's generating the behavior. Solving the behavior by making the person accessible removes the anxiety that was driving it. Many cat owners who close the bedroom door to keep their cat out find that the closed door creates more disruption than the cat's presence would. The waking happens at the door instead of in the room, which is more disruptive because you cannot do nothing about a sound outside the room the way you can stay still in the presence of a cat who is already there. Opening the door and applying the evening routine and the non-response strategy is often more effective than any amount of door-based management. Not in every case. Some cats need the separation for reasons specific to their situation. But if you've been keeping the door closed hoping it would solve the problem and it hasn't, this is worth trying. 5. Hunger is a simpler cause than most people want it to be. Some nighttime waking is not about the hunting cycle or the social mapping or the incomplete behavior loop. Some of it is hunger. Straightforward, physical, middle-of-the-night hunger. Cats who eat 1 or 2 large meals a day have a longer overnight fast than their biology is entirely comfortable with. By 3 a.m., A cat who ate dinner at 6 in the evening has been without food for 9 hours. For an animal whose wild ancestors ate multiple small meals across a 24-hour period, that fast has a physical reality. The simplest version of this fix is a small meal immediately before you go to sleep. Not an extra meal on top of their daily food. A portion of their daily food held back specifically for this moment. The timing matters. You want the post-meal satisfaction to be as recent as possible when you go to bed. Puzzle feeders set up before bed can also extend the engagement with the evening food, slowing the eating and providing mental stimulation that contributes to the tired and settled state you're trying to create. If your cat's nighttime waking has a consistency to it, always around the same time, always with the same quality of urgency that looks more like need than activity, hunger is worth ruling out before anything else. It's the simplest cause and the simplest fix, and addressing it first costs nothing. 6. The nights that change are the result of the days you change first. Here is what I want you to understand about why this works and why it takes the time it takes. Your cat's nighttime behavior is the output of everything that happened during their day. The stimulation they did or didn't get. The hunting cycle they did or didn't complete. The food timing, the social contact, the quality of their environment during the hours you were present and the hours you weren't. The night is downstream of the day. You cannot fix the night by only working on the night. The evening hunt session, run consistently, is a day intervention. It changes what your cat's body arrives at bedtime carrying. The non-response strategy is a night intervention, but it only works cleanly when the day intervention is also happening. Because a cat who is genuinely driven by an incomplete biological cycle will escalate past most non-response attempts until the underlying need is addressed. Run both. Not for 1 night, not for 3 nights. For 2 weeks, without exception. What you'll find, in most cases, is that somewhere in that 2 weeks, the nights change, not all at once. In the way real things change, gradually and from the inside, until one morning, you realize you slept through, and you can't identify exactly when the last 3 waking was. That's not luck. That's the result of 2 weeks of addressing the actual cause of the problem instead of managing the symptom of it. Your cat was never trying to ruin your sleep. They were trying to complete something their body needed to complete, or confirm something their nervous system needed to confirm, or address a hunger their body needed to address. You have now given them a better time to do all of those things. The night, finally, is for sleeping. Both of you,